Troy's going to handle that. Michael did post his. I'll just post this one as well, just for those folks that had registered and didn't get to attend. You should be able to see my screen. And thank you, Troy. This is the MSDI Administrative Boundaries Working Group meeting. Thank you all for attending. I'm Megan Burns. I'm the theme lead. And today we're going to focus on that the data quality matrix part of the strategic planning. And we'll go through what that is and what admin boundaries are. And feel free to put any notes in the chat or come off mute and ask any questions as we go along. This is going to be pretty informal. And let's see if I can, there we go. So today we're going to just go over introductions, what the administrative boundary theme is and any updates, the MSDI framework data quality and improvement plan, go over that data quality assessment matrix that hopefully you got my email for those that have registered, discussion, any feedback you have, and then what's going to happen next. So first, we're just going to go around and I'll call on you and you just let us know your name, who you're working with, and maybe your first or your last or your most memorable concert. So I'm Megan Burns. I'm a GIS analyst here at the Montana State Library. I've been here just over 10 years now as the administrative boundary theme lead, and then also work with Troy on elevation, hydro, whatever else comes up. And my first concert was the Beach Boys, and the last one I went to was just at the Gorge to see Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, and Billy Strings. So next up, Michael Fashaway.
Morning, everyone. Michael Fashaway, Montana State Library. I'm the GIS Land Information Lead. Attended a lot of concerts, so it's hard to pick the most memorable one, but I'll go with the first, which was Primus with the Melvins opening up at the State Theater in Detroit.
Nice. Thank you. Next, Troy Blanford.
Yeah, good morning. Troy Blanford, Water Information Lead with the State Library. Take care of hydrography, elevation, LiDAR. I think I'll go with first concert, at least the one that should count, and that was Pearl Jam in Salt Lake City many years ago, but pretty good.
Awesome. Thanks. Next, Jeff Young.
Good morning. Jeff Young, I'm with One Spatial. We support the library's 911 mapping initiative. And a very memorable concert was the Grateful Dead at Caesar's Palace circa 1982.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Jerry Garcia was performing.
Excellent. Thank you. And next, Allison Kennedy.
Okay, found my mic. I'm Allison Kennedy. I'm with the Department of Revenue, and gosh, I could go with for memorable either crashing the gates at a Grateful Dead concert and getting in and ending up with a floor ticket and a ticket stub and down on the floor, or yeah, I guess we'll go with that one for a memorable one. I got a bunch of others, but somebody said the Dead, and it just, brought up my, oh yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Allison. Okay, next, Brian Klapstein.
Hey, Brian Klapstein, Department of Transportation, GIS analyst here. And I haven't been to a lot of concerts, so I'll just go with Bob Marley and the Wailers up in Anchorage, Alaska.
Oh, awesome. Thanks. Clayton Vine.
Clayton Vine, Roosevelt County, GIS administrator.
Chris French.
Howdy. Chris French, Department of Revenue, worked with Allison. The last memorable concert. Pop Mart, U2, the whole band came out of a shiny yellow lemon. It's great.
Oh, fun. Thank you. Dave Ritz.
Dave Ritz with the Montana Department of Commerce. This is a tough call. I'm gonna go with my first. It was Ozzy Osbourne.
That's a good introduction. Aaron Pashaway.
Good morning, everyone. Erin Fashaway, the Montana State Library State GIS coordinator. I was thinking about my first, and I participated in 4-H for as long as you can, and I think there was plenty of concerts there. But the one I really remember going to was that the Taste of Cleveland is this big rib cook-off, and it was the Bare Naked Ladies, and I think I was like 16 or 17. Long time ago.
Eric Spangenberg.
Good morning, everyone. Eric Spangberg. I'm with Lewis and Clark County in the city of Helena. Our GIS office supports both of those organizations. I'm not a concert goer. Can't even tell you if I've ever, the only thing I would say would be anything live on the Gulch or during the Live at Fives would be the only things that I could attest to.
Sounds good. Evan Hammer.
Evan Hammer, Digital Library Administrator here at the State Library. First concert, I was able to go along. My dad took my sister and her friends to Huey Lewis and the News in Greensboro, North Carolina, with the Tower of Power. And yeah, I think that was pre Back to the Future Huey Lewis. So, goes way back.
Joe Kaufman.
Yeah, good morning. Land surveyor for Montana Association of Registered Land Surveyors. My most memorable concert was Shinedown in Bozeman. I think it was about 3-4 years ago.
Nice. Thank you. Maureen Salander.
Good morning, everybody. This is Maureen Sealander. I'm the GIS manager for Custer County here in Miles City. And my first concert was Fleetwood Mac and the Cars in Anchorage, Alaska. And my most memorable concert was the Medora Musical in North Dakota because my granddaughter got to go up and be on stage with them. So
very cool. Thanks, Maureen. And Mike Powell.
Good morning, Mike Powell, Yellowstone County GIS manager. I really, so many concerts, I can't think of my first one really, but the last one I went to was Rat and Quiet Riot here at the Metro, and I'll stick with that.
Thanks, Mike. And Shane Fox.
Hey, good morning. Savannah Wendland is with me here too.
Excellent.
We're both from Blaine County. I think that my first concert was Michael Martin Murphy at Zoo, Montana, before it was even the zoo. And it was a fundraiser, but I don't recall, it was in the 80s. And then probably the most memorable was Red Hot Chili Peppers and Courtney Love.
I'll just go the last big concert, and it was Tyler Childers in Missoula.
Excellent. All right, and then Tracy Sawyer.
Hi, I'm Tracy Sawyer from Beaverhead County, GIS coordinator. I've been to a lot, but a really good one was Queensryche at the Wilma in Missoula. That was a good one.
Oh, nice. All right, I think that's everyone, but please let me know if I've missed anyone. Okay, well, thank you all. So let's get into it. Administrative boundaries. Since we started working with the Secretary of State's office in 2021, We've grown from around 18 sub-themes to 43. So things have really picked up. Election districts are used for state and county elections, federal elections. Data comes from federal, state, and local partners, and various data sets are provided either to the Census Bureau, to USGS Protected Areas Database, or the ESRI Community Maps Program, and then is also publicly available to anyone who wants access to it. And we publish in various formats: file geodatabase, shape files, Excel tables, web services, PDF maps, and web apps. Here are those 18 sub-themes, from county and county commissioner districts to rural fire departments, school districts, managed areas, national parks. Some of these data sets are also managed and worked on by other agencies, or I coordinate with them. And as you can see, some of those are also election districts. So here are those election districts that we've started mapping as of 2021. And I would like to now turn this over to Michael, and he's just going to walk through an overview of what we're working on here today.
Thanks, Megan. Yeah, so an overview and background on this effort. This will be familiar to folks that have attended some of the other recent working group meetings. But this all stems out of MSL's GIS coordination strategic plan, which was finalized, I think, 2022 or 2023. Part of that prioritized 4 business plans, one of which was a business plan to improve geospatial data value. At the time, I think it was recognized that MSL does a pretty good job in this area, but like anything, there's always room to improve. And so that's kind of really what we're trying to do here, is just figure out where the needs are and make sure that we're doing what we can as theme leads with the framework layers to, as much as possible, make those data sets meet those needs. So objective 3 within that overall business plan is to assess data sets and themes using data quality measures. And then we'll take those assessments and determine what we can do to improve upon them, and that will then trickle into a plan that will kind of guide our next steps in terms of working to improve the data quality. Next slide, please.
Mm-hmm.
So getting more into those data quality measures, these were worked on and recommended to us by AppGeo, which were the folks that we worked on the strategic plan with. So kind of those data quality measures are timeliness, and there's different aspects of that. We talked about update frequency quite a bit, as well as archive frequency. We've made a lot of effort at the state library to not only, make sure we're updating data as frequently as we can and publishing it and stuff, but also archiving previous versions where that data is changing, so folks can have access to a historical version for a given time period that they might be interested in looking at. Next one down is accuracy and precision. Two sort of different measures, but they relate to each other. Accuracy being kind of how well the data matches the real world, and then precision, depending on the data set, is kind of a measure of how precise that is, or the level of detail within that accuracy measurement. can also be a measurement of how well the accuracy kind of meets the need of the data. Next one down is consistency. There's a lot of different ways to look at this. We were largely measuring it on similarities and differences between data stored in multiple data sets or databases. So this is important when we're talking about framework data sets that we work on in conjunction with local governments or other data providers. So comparing data in their versions of the database with perhaps the framework versions, and trying to ensure that those are as similar and consistent as possible. Completeness, measure of how comprehensive the data set is. That can be both spatially, is it available statewide? Is it limited to a particular area? Are there holes in it? It can also be a measure of attribute completeness. Does it have all the attributes needed? Are they populated where they're required, et cetera? Integrity, an assessment of whether data structure, schema, and maintenance workflows meet end user needs. This is kind of like almost a higher level assessment, and it can kind of touch on a number of the other data quality measures, or where one of those is lacking, it can certainly impact the integrity of a data set. And in a similar way, relevance is also kind of an assessment of the accessibility and availability of the data to be used for a given need or business system or question. So it also kind of has a lot of tie-ins to all the other data quality measures. So we looked at each of these measures and looked at what we're currently doing for them, kind of what we envisioned our long-term goal or need was, and then we tried to come up with possibly some short-term goals or needs that would help us get to those long-term needs over time. Next slide, please.
I think that's all I gave you.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks,
unless
Michael.
Unless there's any questions, I'll turn it back to Megan.
I'll just add something there, and just in this exercise, like we aren't, at least at this stage, we're not putting restraints on like limits for resources. Like we're trying to think of what would be ideal, not really taking into consideration staffing limitations or funding limitations. And then those things will be considered in the next phase of this is developing an improvement plan. And then doing that, we'll look at feasibility and resource availability. So at this point, in the exercise that Megan's working on here, it's really anything's on the table.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Michael, and thanks, Troy, for that additional information. Yeah, and so as we're looking at all of these data quality measures, please be thinking about how they impact you and your business needs, and if there's something we're doing that we could be doing better, that we're lacking, that you don't understand why we're doing. And then with Troy's question, how do they get adopted, and are we getting to too much? We've had an informal process of bringing on new data sets. There were some that we always wanted to be mapping, that they are in statute and like a lot of the election districts, and we just didn't have the capacity to take those on, or the wanting to do it, but how do you reach out to every county and city and start mapping all of them? And then so having this partnership with the Secretary of State's office really gave us marching orders, and we could really start meeting up with the different election administrators and GIS professionals and start getting those. And then managed areas, that was a long time with the Natural Heritage Program. And as we've merged programs and things have just migrated, we've taken things like that on as well. So it's been an evolution. All right, so into the data quality assessment matrix. You should have all seen the spreadsheet I emailed you, which is going to be a continuous work in progress. Feel free to add any comments you would like to in that and send that back to me for, I'll add in your additions. As you can see, I've added all of the different themes at the top, and then I worked through mainly pulling out where there are big differences. So all the election districts have the same schema and were developed for the same purpose. Some of them came from different sources initially, like rural fire departments, and soil conservation districts have been maintained by the DNRC. And then we had to move them into a schema that was going to work for the Secretary of State's office. Election system, they've all come from various sources. Some counties provided GIS data, some provided maps, resolutions, with legal descriptions. And so some were already mapped, some we had to create from scratch. And then with redistricting, some of them had got more attention with like voting precincts. Getting updated, legislative districts getting updated in 2022 and 2023 and continuing to get updated. So here's an overall summary of those various measures, just pulling out the main things. So just starting at the bottom with the archive frequency, all of the data are treated the same when it comes to archiving. Every year we do an annual snapshot. We save that locally. We also make it available on our FTP. Anytime we have regularly scheduled backups of our SDE database that I'm working in, so I can go back in time that way as well if somebody needs a specific date, depending on how far back that was. And then we do take a backup and a snapshot of all the web services every time they're updated as well. Spatial accuracy and precision. The majority of the election districts have been mapped to MSDI layers where appropriate, parcels, CAT MSDI, transportation. Some have been mapped to census data. If you think of like congressional and legislative districts being mapped from census blocks, and then other sources depending on what the data set is. So the precision is going to vary across the state. And as I've mapped, I'm mapping to whatever is the current CAT MSDI, and so there can sometimes be some out of date alignment to the CAT MSDI. And so you'll see that in the consistency topic as well. I'm actually in the process of adjusting all the data sets to the current 2025 CAT MSDI at the moment. Got about a third of the state done. So I'll be publishing that once that's complete. We have statewide coverage for most data sets. Still working on getting the county commissioner districts for treasure. I'm going to get out there and it's going to happen. And then it's a matter of our data is only as good as what's been provided and what's been validated by the agencies that we're working with. It's not uncommon where I get an annexation for a city that happened 10, 20 years ago and somehow got missed. But I will say, working with the Secretary of State's office on elections, getting a lot more updates more consistently, and just having a lot more open dialogue with all of the counties. And so that's been real great. And then update frequency with the election cycle tend to be working in between elections, and given what's in statute, there are certain times of when and you can actually work on some of the data sets. So there's that. And then there's just a general, like, I'm working to at least get everything published at least annually, if not more frequently. But in managing these many data sets, it is, some things are not getting updated that frequently. Like managed areas tend to be a little bit lacking in getting those updated on an annual basis. So, and then you saw this in the spreadsheet as well. I then broke those themes down into different groups. So election districts, I think we've already mostly covered this, but just to get into some of the consistency, there are topology errors that do exist within the data set and between. I'm always working on trying to improve that and get rid of those errors, but especially working with some of them being MSDI and some being census data, it's always a work in progress to try and get those aligned, those two data sets as well. And then, as I mentioned, being items in statute and rule kind of dictate when, how, and who is responsible. And then I'm currently updating those about twice a year with elections. Congressional and legislative districts, those are mapped from census data. Census boundaries get snapped within 30 feet of current census boundaries. So when Department of Commerce or I submit the legislative districts or voting precincts, if there is already a census line there, that new boundary gets snapped to that census district or line. And then, so it's not going to completely align with MSDI until we work with census to get that data updated. And then those have statewide coverage. You can disregard the missing annexation part. That was just a copy error, and the topology is good for those as well. But those are published every 10 years following a decennial census, and then we submit the legislative districts to the Census Bureau. Voting precincts, those should be aligned with the legislative districts and should be reviewed following a decennial census. Depending on statute and what might change. I think there was a rule about this year, new bill was passed about the number of electors that could be within a voting precinct. So things like that come up. There are some topology errors within the voting precincts that I'm working on. Those are getting aligned to the MSDI data sets where possible. And as you can, the MCA requirements for when and how they can be updated. And then there is also with that one, voting precincts can only be updated if there's a resolution approved by the county commissioners. So if your voting precincts follow like your city boundary and the city has an annexation, if you want the voting precinct to be updated, that requires a resolution. County commissioner districts often map to MSDI, some map to census data. Those should also get reviewed after a decennial census. I already mentioned that I'm still working to get treasurer. And then county boundaries. Oh, thanks, Stuart. He just put that maximum number of registered voters as 2,500 for voting precincts. With county boundaries, we districts are also, they also follow the county boundaries. The difference being that with the we districts, about once a year, I do go out and grab the contact information from the we coordinator website. It's not like up to date. I don't go out and check it every day, and I'm not sure how often it gets updated on their website either. And I'm not sure how important it is to keep that updated, but that is in the schema currently. Again, county boundaries are mostly mapped to parcels and MSDI, the river boundaries being held from the 1972 location to the Constitution. They were originally mapped from the BLM GCDB or the 24K topo quads. And so as the resolution is improved, the data is moved with that. And then very few topology errors, but there might be one here or there between like the polygon and the line feature. But essentially I'm working from the line feature and then moving the polygon to the line when I'm doing adjustments. There is an annual census program, the Boundary and Annexation Survey, where you can submit updates for your county and city boundaries. And then if I do have updates to the county boundaries, I do submit those to the Esri Community-Based Maps program, and then those would get incorporated into any of Esri's base maps that have the county boundaries. Incorporated cities and towns, same thing. When I do have annexations or changes, it's about twice a year that I've scheduled for the community-based maps program to be updated, but if I publish, I change the date and have them pick up those updates sooner. And but usually publishing these around twice a year with the election calendar. There are potentially some topology errors, mainly between like the other data sets that follow the city boundaries and the city boundaries, not so much in the city boundaries. So if you think of wards or voting precincts or rural fire districts, and then there's like a rural district boundary, but very few, but those do exist. The incorporated cities and towns also includes a related table where I once a year go grab the census annexations that were submitted during the boundary and annexation survey. And I put those into that table. So when you grab the incorporated cities and towns, those are in there. And it's also a good way for me to check, especially before doing election work, that, oh, this county submitted annexations, and then I'd go reach out to them and see what those annexations were and make sure that I had them. School districts, previous to elections, we just had the 3 data sets, the K through 12, also known as unified high school and elementary school. And then there's a school now with elections, there's another school district layer that usually combines those high school and elementary into one. And then there's also a school trustee district. And also with those polygon layers, I'm maintaining line layers so I know where the source of that data is. Is it the CAD-STI PLSS, or is it parcel or road or something like that? Should it be held in a when I'm doing adjustments, or should it be adjusted with the CAD-STI? There are also 2 related tables I'm currently maintaining, updating usually annually, which are the annual enrollment and the county superintendent contact information. Those are both from the Office of Public Instruction. So maybe out of date since I'm only doing the county superintendent info once a year. And then similar to the others, continue to work to align to the census data. Instead of boundary and annexation survey, the census has a school district review program where they have each state appoint a mapping coordinator. I've been doing that work. It's now an annual process where I'm submitting school district updates every December. I reach out to all the county superintendents and GIS folks and ask them if there have been any changes. Usually that's when I would get the majority of my changes, but now doing election work, I'm getting school district updates more frequently. And then tax increment financing districts. This is in statute with the Department of Revenue. They get updates from the cities and counties. I think it's February 1 is that deadline. And then somebody from the Department of Revenue sends me their latest spreadsheet. Currently, that data set has boundaries of TIFIDs that have been terminated, that were proposed but never happened, and then the current ones. So there is some thought of maybe we just show the current ones, and if you wanted one that was terminated, you would just go back to a different year. But you could always filter those out as well. In addition to the Polygon data set, there is a related table that will tell you which levy districts are associated with that tax increment financing district. Often when I do get that list from the Department of Revenue, it doesn't include any GIS, and so that I'm reaching out to the county or to get that GIS data or map. And then reservation boundaries. The national steward is the Census Bureau, and so I annually double check that they haven't updated anything with the reservation boundaries. And then there are a couple areas of the reservation that do follow the CAT MSDI, and so I continue to monitor those and align those. There might be some topology errors between the polygon and the line data set, maybe, but yeah. Reservations, and then managed areas and national parks. So this data set is from all sorts of sources. There's federal sources, state sources, local sources. I mainly focus on the state one, so Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, the NRC, and then definitely lacking in the local data, so parks and other locally managed data sets. The USGS Protected Areas Database worked with the Trust for Public Lands to bring in a lot of local parks. I incorporated those, but that I noticed that data set is also lacking in our local parks for Montana. I submit an update of the managed areas that also includes conservation easements and public lands. It was probably 2 or 3 years ago now, and it took them that long to publish the new one to the Protected Areas Database. So they are working to publish more frequently. My goal would be to submit updates to them annually after we update the data set. Once it's submitted to them initially a couple years ago, I then grabbed some of the fields that were in that Protected Areas database, like the GAP status code, and brought that back into our data set. And so if you go to the Natural Heritage Programs map viewer, you'll see the managed areas database with the GAP code, that sort of thing. So yeah, if you see something missing in there, please reach out. Definitely would like to have the data for the local governments for there. And then the national parks is within the managed areas database, but we have also pulled it out so it's available separately if you need it. And that is a little rundown of our data sets. And so as you were looking at those and as you look at that spreadsheet, some of the questions that we have for you are, is there anything that is keeping you from using these administrative boundaries data sets? Is there something that would make it more valuable or more relevant to your work? Are there limitations you have found? And then if you have any improvements, like what would you prioritize? So don't all shout answers at once, but things for you to think about. Feel free to put things in the chat or come off mute if you have any questions or comments.
Megan, on that commissioner resolution for all city boundary changes, would you happen to have the statute for that?
I bet Stuart's gonna beat me to it. So the version I sent out didn't include related laws, but I have been keeping that list, and I did add that to the sheet. So when I send out the latest, actually that link I sent you Clayton will have that, I think, now. And then the geo-enabled elections page has a list of those related laws too. But let me see if I can get to that. Oh, see, thanks, Stuart.
Megan and folks on the call, this is where we get into issues with the cities where they annex something and then the election administrator thinks, oh, they annexed it and therefore I can move my precinct boundary. And so no, the only people who can move the precinct boundary officially is the county commissioners or the governing board. So if city annexed something, need precinct boundary moved, then it's just a resolution at the county governing. There is some restrictions on when that can be done. So 100 days before like the federal primary next June, and then in between that primary and the November election, you can't move the precinct boundary. They prevent that from people playing shenanigans with precincts during the election. So just be aware of that when you're dealing with your cities and annexations.
If they don't move the, would they just create a split then? Is that what would happen?
Yeah, that's what you can do temporarily is you have a precinct split and and so then the precinct that gets annexed into, so like the rural precinct gets a split where now it has, you drop the rural thing in voting and you in our voting management system and you add the city district to that split.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's how it's been handled. I'm fairly certain that's how we've been handling here.
Yeah, and I know I've been working with Eric with CC and Connor on that, and I think there's some like west side annexations that got a little weird, but I think they just made another split.
Okay. I'll have to visit with them. I know, yeah, we haven't had any yet this year, any annexations yet this year, but I have a feeling there's going to be some coming on. So,
and then and in the context of the MSDI, this is important. The voting precincts, the splits, city boundaries are important in the sense of elections and not repeating them. And the example, I think I've talked about this at other things, is Flathead County had to rerun the city of Kalispell election per judge order because they didn't have the last 4 years of annexations, and they realized, I think it was, they didn't send ballots to a sufficient number of people because they weren't marked in the system as living in the city, and the judge ordered 2 city commission races to be rerun. So that's why it becomes important.
yeah. Say, Megan, how often does a county line get adjusted?
Well,
Because
so
and the only reason I ask is because I mean, when we do our boundary and annexation survey for the Census Bureau, I basically say no change to the county boundary.
right.
I'm like, who would make that change and how, type of thing. So I'm mostly committed to making sure that City of Helena and City of East Helena boundaries are submitted to census during the boundary and annexation side of things. But I've always been like, well, I don't know. I don't even know who has the power to change a county boundary because there'd be so many other things involved.
Right. Yeah. And so for adjustments here, there was one in 2021, 2023, and 2025, and I did not get to anything getting adjusted in 2023. So they were last adjusted in 2021 here. And so I'm working on getting everything caught up to 2025. And then I have reached out to the Census Bureau, to the BAS team, and mentioned to them, hey, we've made some adjustments to the CAT MSDI. We'd like to work with you. And so it's had some names over the years. I don't think they have an official program anymore, but they are aware of our situation. We're not the only state that is working on their CAD CI. And yeah, hopefully they have the staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, don't worry about trying to get everything adjusted on for your counties.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Thanks, Maureen. Yeah, I have been working on the Miles City boundary in itself and need to get back on that. You're not alone in having resolutions where the legal descriptions are not completely accurate. I don't know if Stuart has anything to say about that. Usually I just try and like correct that with them, but I don't know about passing a new resolution.
Ideally, you want to protect your future selves by getting it accurate. And so if they swapped north and south, yeah, you probably want to fix that because, hey, we annexed out of our city. North could be a ways away from your city, and now you have an official document that says, oh yeah, we annexed, sorry, Hysham, we annexed all of your city by mistake because we flopped, north and south or something silly like that. Where it really becomes more important in elections is school district boundaries, because those are usually legal descriptions and they're old legal descriptions, and it becomes painful to deal with, particularly when you have a dispute. Hey, this was part of it. It wasn't part of it. Oh no, that was done in 1947. All of those things. I do know, like Sanders County was working on something was an issue in Thompson Falls where they had to dig out the stuff from like 1940 regarding a conservation district. So these things matter, and protecting future people working on boundaries is yeah, up. If you see it, fix it.
Thank you. Yes, I've been in contact with the city and I hope that they kind of take a more serious look at it than what I think they've been doing.
Yeah, that's a good question. Thanks for bringing that up, Maureen. All right.
Hey, Megan.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add something. In addition to the questions Megan's asking here is if you feel like there's additional coordination or training or something else that we can be doing to help bring about awareness outside of what we're doing currently, like, the standard conferences, so on and so forth, please let us know. And I know this gets very complicated. And appreciate everyone that's on the call. And I just kind of, I don't know about you, Megan, I think of all the people that aren't on the call. So if you guys think that there's other ways for us to get this out there, please let us know. And, we're open to hearing your suggestions on different coordination activities as well. Thanks, Megan.
Thanks, Erin. Yeah, we are always trying to get the word out in new ways. So I'll definitely be sending a follow-up to the whole MEGIP list and reaching out to the local government SIG, but it's always more of a challenge to working with the other, like making sure the other state agencies, some have more GIS than others. So yeah, let us know how we're doing and if we can do other things for you. All right, and then so next steps, I'll be sending out any changes to the matrix. You've already seen one version of it. Please feel free, like I mentioned, to add your notes in there and send any other comments back to me, email, call me, however you want to contact me. And then I'll incorporate your feedback into the final matrix. There's a NGIA Council meeting coming up in July, where this matrix will be presented along with structures and addresses and climate. And there's a climate working group meeting tomorrow. If you are interested and didn't see, I could pop that information in the chat too. And then later this fall, we'll be reviewing the whole plan and those next steps that Michael mentioned. And Troy and Michael, I don't know if there's anything else you want to, or Aaron, mention with the process and what's coming up next.
You guys have done a pretty good job, or a great job of explaining it, both you and Michael. And you know, we welcome your feedback here in the working groups. We welcome your feedback in between working groups directly to myself or to all the theme leads. The geospatial information plan is out there and available for feedback. Could recommend, taking a look at that and giving us your feedback. And of course, at the council meeting. So just because, if you miss a meeting, you haven't, like Megan had mentioned climate, we just had addressing recently as well. If you miss a meeting, please don't hesitate to reach out to our theme leads or myself or whomever else to discuss any kind of issues or concerns or ideas you might have. So really appreciate everyone being here. Thanks, Megan.
Thanks, Aaron. Any final comments? Here is my contact information and the URL to get to the boundaries theme page. I really want to thank everyone for joining us today and appreciate any feedback you have, and thank you all.
Thank you, Megan. I was actually intrigued. I just was rereading that spreadsheet and I didn't realize you guys had the TIFs in there too, the tax increment financing. So
yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, really? So I pulled up the boundaries map and I was like, oh, well, cool. Okay. All right.
Well,
thank you, Megan. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Megan.
Have a good day. Thanks,
everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.